Gigi reading FoodWISE tonight, continuing on with scale and the idea of true blue versus global green and organic. And then I want to highlight a few speakers at the Food Revolution Summit, which is happening this week. So, the connection that these small-scale farmers have with their communities and what it suggests about the value and quality of the food is increasingly desired by consumers. Quality is, of course, a difficult, albeit subjective, word to define, which plenty of researchers and journalists alike have tried to do. As I mentioned in the introduction, quality refers to flavor and smells and textures of uncontaminated and unadulterated foods. The dilemma for consumers is how to know whether that connection is there when shopping in the grocery store. For many, organic is the most useful shorthand label, but how much does that label actually say? Organic might actually not have much to do with the all-important connection between farmer and consumer that lets us be active, knowledgeable participants in our agricultural web. Organic has become so corporate and industrialized that an organization called the Cornucopia Institute arose to work on economic justice for the family scale farming community with an emphasis on local and organic food. The Cornucopia Institute aims to inform the public about what's behind the organic label on the food they're buying. With some searching, you can get information from Cornucopia on mega farm organic producers like Seeds of Change, Cascadian Farms, Muir Glen, Spectrum Organics, Boca Foods, Horizon, Odwalla, and Morningstar Farms. I admit I appreciate the convenience of mega farm organic greens. It's there, it's in the store, it's washed. And at least I know that municipal sewage sludge was not used as a fertilizer, nor were the products themselves irradiated at some step of processing. Yes, it's not mine or my farmers market friends, and it may be far from local. On the other hand, I recognize that it is a luxury to be able to buy local at a farmer's market. For people who can't, Safeway's local organic still supports a wiser, capital W-I-S-E, lowercase r, food culture than Amazon-delivered Dole Food Company might. Again, it's a question of what's important to you and what you can reasonably do. Our mantra should be, stop, think, then act. Tonight, I highlight the Food Revolution Summit. This is the brainchild and project of John Robbins and his son, Ocean Robbins. And it is several dozen speakers, an annual event, and it is happening this week. And it is completely focused on a plant-based diet. So I talk about plant-based diets and animal-based diets in FoodWISE in the context of making wise food choices. But if you need a dose 24 times over, then the Food Revolution Summit of a plant-based diet is where you want to be. And today's speakers were David Katz, who has a book, Prescription for a Healthier Planet, and Jonathan Safran IV, who is promoting his book, We Are the Weather, Saving the Planet Begins at Breakfast, but he's also the author of a number of other very, very popular novels, and Vandana Shiva, an icon in her own right, and she is the author of many books which are critiques on industrialized agriculture. And I chose North Atlantic Books in part because North Atlantic Books publishes a lot of her books. And that was an endorsement of sorts for me in considering a publisher for FoodWISE. She is a take no prisoners forthright speaker against industrialized agriculture, against corporate agriculture, which is literally, according to Dr. Shiba, literally killing farmers. She writes at length about the situation in her own country, India. She's the vice president of Slow Food. So she has sensibility, which is very forward and broad looking, care of the entire planet, and very worthwhile reading, although controversial, especially for what some consider to be a strident tone, and more importantly, uninformed tone. So when she was giving a speech at Stanford not too long ago, faculty were up in arms, not literally, but figuratively, that she was coming to campus, trying to take a position about bringing someone to campus who may not be informed with science, by science, in science, in her work. Of course, that's an interesting argument, whether a person can step foot on campus or not, and certainly begs questions about freedom of speech. Anyway, such a worthwhile writer to look at. And then just a comment about Jonathan Safran Foer, his other novels, some of which no doubt you have heard about because they've been made into movies or documentaries. Everything is illuminated and extremely loud and incredibly close. These were movies. Eating Animals became a documentary that he co-narrated with Natalie Portman. So these speakers are definitely worth looking at, and I invite you to do so.